Hey, what is happening, you guys? I realize that I say that every time, and you know what? Maybe it's just my intro. It's just my signature intro. Hey, you guys, what's happening? If you're joining in on the Total Body Blueprint Facebook page, welcome. You can always join these live. We go live every single week. And if you want to see it live, to be able to ask questions with any of the people that I have on the show or to me, you can go to the Total Body Blueprint, request to be a member of the group. I'll get you in there, and then you get to watch these live. If not, you can head to any podcast platform and be able to listen to it on there. So, I'm super pumped. You guys can tell it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is not the usual time in which we do podcasts, but that's because I got an incredible guest today, and what we're going to be talking about is literally, you guys, literally going to change your life. I know you guys hear me say that at times because there's so many different things that can change your life, but this is something that you do every single day. And without tapping into it, you are missing out on massive potential, both in your performance, in your life, in your health, in your happiness, in your relationships. This show is going to be fire, you guys. So without further ado, let me give you a bio on this stellar of a man. On the podcast today, I have Will, who is an Australian-born human, deeply connected to the art of helping people help people. In the coaching world, he represents as a breath worker, and he currently owns and operates a company by the name of Harvest. He is part of several projects under the banner to which include the Human Collective and Premium. Will is a father of 4 children, loving husband and partner, and lives and breathes the passion he shows in his work. Please welcome to the show, Will. What is up?
Hey, brother.
Dude, I don't do shows this late, unless it's somebody that is straight rock star status. And dude, play your air guitar, brother, because you're a rock star to me.
I received that heart forward, brother. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, first and foremost, what people might be hearing is that Will doesn't sound exactly like me. Whatever that means. Will, Will, where do you live, man? And tell us what day and what time it is.
This is going to be a psychedelic experience for all of y'all. I am from the future.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Break the ice with that.
Yes.
I reside in Victoria, Australia, so the southeast coast of Australia. And it is currently 10:05 a.m. on Saturday morning.
And it's 5:06 p.m. here in the States at Reno, Nevada, Pacific Standard Time. So we are literally talking to somebody in the future. If that's not blowing your mind, and if you're not like, I'm going to listen to this entire thing now, I don't know what else I can get you on.
The other day, I've been unpacking some research lately, based around what I'm coaching, but it's kind of assisting me. I'll acknowledge the soft language there, but it's assisting me in my perspective of the human condition, right? And I've been studying some deep physics research. I've been tapping into time dilation. I've been looking at string theory. And the other day, I'd finished this 2-hour block of study. And I jumped on this strong coach call, and we're doing a new moon ceremony, drum circle, led by the beautiful Jared Davis, incredible human. And at one moment, we were all present, energetically, consciously, we were all present in this one moment. Yet, I'm here in Australia, ahead of most. There was someone who was in Thailand a couple hours behind me. Wow. There was someone in fly a couple hours behind him. There were people in the States a day behind me. And so my head was just like, this is insane. This is insane.
Man. And
Yeah.
you guys, there's so much to unpack with Will. There's a bunch of stuff that you said in there already that just gets me super curious. We're going to be talking, guys. We're going to be talking and diving into breath work. So one of the things I want you guys to hold on to here is that there's going to be a lot of stuff that Will might talk about that you may never heard of before, like AKA a drum circle. And people are like, what drum circle? What does this have to do with breath and my performance and living better and so on and so forth? Just so that people do know, give us, and we're going to dive into other stuff, right? But you threw out the drum circle. And that, if you guys haven't been part of a drum circle, okay, missing out. But give us an idea of, okay, why is there a drum circle? What's the importance of there?
So I'll give some context as to why I was at a drum circle. I'm part of a community called the Strong Coach, and beneath that, there's a few others. There's Enlifted as well, which you're familiar with, and the community might be. And then there is the Training Camp for the Soul. So between the three, there's this atmosphere of human connection and learning how to grow our businesses and grow ourselves professionally. And within the community, the focus, first and foremost, at the root of all of the education provided, is always connection through human interaction. And so that's what led me, and that's why I was present as part of a drum circle. To go deeper into that, the drum circle idea is an inherited practice that we in Western society have inherited from Eastern cultures and even Native American cultures as well,
right.
To which humans would gather in a ceremonial setting and utilize the frequency and vibration of music to guide each other on a journey spiritually.
Yeah.
Within that capacity and that container, the tribe would share energy. They would be purely focused on the journey itself and evolving and overcoming as a tribe. And so the music and the drum specifically is quite unique in its vibrational signature and how that interacts with us as human beings as well.
Yeah, and the big thing I heard you there. I mean, multiple things, but the connection, the connection, and right now, so many people are missing that connection, not only with other people, but with themselves in their breath, right? There's been so much amped up. There's been so much anxiety, so much worry, so much fear that people just climb higher and higher and higher into their chest in their breath. And when we do that, we get caught and trapped in our thoughts and our minds, and our body doesn't operate, the same way. And so let's give a little bit of, for the listener, some context. How did you get into breath work? Did you, you got out of high school and you're just like, man, breath work it is. Give us the journey. Give us the journey of breath work for you.
I would like to say that I wish it was that way, but I am actually grateful that it wasn't, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
My journey in breath and finding breath work has been evolutionary in my application to learning. Right? I left school, high school, in year 10 to become a professional soccer player, to which I did for a very brief moment.
Wow.
And then as fate would have it, genetically, I was drawn by love to a different part of the country and decided that I would go and follow that instinct or emotional feeling. And quite soon after that, I understood that it was not love that was present at that moment. And so I joined the military. That's what you do. Your girlfriend asks you and you're like, okay, I'm going to go join the military. And on the journey through in the military, I began my study and research into anatomy and physiology and how the body moved biomechanically. My job in the military was a PTI, or a physical training instructor. So essentially, I was a personal trainer / strength and conditioning coach within the military framework. Australia, England, and France and New Zealand are about the only nations that have this specific capability. And so when we deploy, we actually support United Nations and NATO anyways. So
Right.
on my last deployment, for the most part, my clients were all American-based military members. So in that framework of studying and learning about the body, I became super obsessed with psychology. And the reason being was my environments initially were doing a lot to me. You know, my conditioning and programming as a human was doing a lot to me internally that I couldn't understand, but my environment was doing a lot to me as well. And so I started to dive down that rabbit hole of psychology, which led me to breath work. And I'll make the connection here. As humans, our reality is perceived based upon how we are raised, right? In the first 10,000 days of our lives, us being Earthside, we learn things. We learn a lot of things, actually. And for the most part, our nervous system keeps hold of all that data beyond the conscious mind, right? So we find when we get to the age of 7 and 8, we may have behavioral traits that are unbeknown to our psyche, purely based upon what we witnessed and were exposed to in that first 10,000 days of being a child. And for the most part, we get to an age where we just operate from that space as humans. Right? We operate from that space. And if the shit comes and hits the wall, we endure it, we move on. Some people get curious. I was one of those curious people. Why does the shit keep hitting the wall for me? You know, I don't even have a fan in the room. and my study led me back to my original capability of the human body. And what I was witnessing in my own body was these physiological responses: breath up in the chest, mouth breathing, different shape of the inside of my mouth. My soft palate was a different shape. My jaw was a different structure. And overall, these ailments were starting to present in my body physically. Now, generally, we would start to look at, you know, they would be considered symptoms in Western medicine, you know, in the what Peter Crone labels the sick care system. And we would be treating those symptoms based upon whatever is relevant in that life right there and then. So if I was presenting with soft palate irregulation, or my jaw was starting to take different shape, then there would be a lot of other things happening. So my sinuses would start to close in, olfactory bulb wouldn't be functioning as highly as it should be, and then you go down a lot lower into the body, lungs would be doing things, ribs would be doing things. And so the doctors would be like, okay, what is your current lifestyle? Must be food, must be diet, must be lack of exercise,
stress.
what have you. But it goes deeper than that.
Yeah.
Right. We get to a point in our lives where the original operating system to which we were conditioned to starts to malfunction, and this new version of our psyche starts to take over. We change personalities, we change our likes, we change our dislikes. We find ourselves in new relationships, we find ourselves in new work environments. That disconnect there is where people aren't recognizing, well, there's something shifting, and they're not seeing the signs of this breathing up into the chest, breathing out the mouth. They're all signs. They're all signs that there is stress and anxiety present in your body.
Yeah.
And it needs to be identified and worked through.
Right.
And so long story short, I got to a point in my life where I was just riddled with stress. At that stage, I had been diagnosed with depression, PTSD. I had arthritis all through my body, hips, ankles, knees, shoulders, spine. I had these cysts in my joints. I had several broken bones and torn ligaments. And this was all from, a series of tests and assessments that I'd been through over this specific amount of time when I left the military. And I was like, man,
yeah,
life can't have been that bad for me to have all this.
Yeah.
And so I dove in, and I was like, well, there's got to be something else. And that's what led me to breathwork.
Wow. And so you had all these ailments. You started breathwork. What happened to the ailments?
over time, and I use that word viciously because humans like a quick fix.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
this isn't generalizing because I'm sure it's universal, but in our household, we're an international household. My wife's American, I'm Australian. Our heritage is from all over the world,
Yeah.
and so humans like to take a pill and they like it to be fixed the next morning so that they can go about their day.
That's right.
That's the psyche, right? And so over time, when I would implement different parts of breath work, different psychology techniques, I would be able to hack into my system to redesign what it was that I was perceiving in my reality. Am I identifying as this man who is riddled with ailments? That's first and foremost. You know, if I'm presenting life in myself, in my own life, and saying I am this person who is riddled with ailments, then nothing's going to change because my nervous system has no need to believe anything else.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
My brain has a need for it. So that was the first thing. The second thing was breath work allows you to alter the state of consciousness for you to get in there and do that work. There is a chemical reaction that occurs in the body when implementing different types of breathwork practices, whether it be cathartic or very down regulatory breath. Things change in the body molecularly, like on a very small level, chemically. Things change psychologically as well. And in that space, that bridge between the gap is where you can change everything. I stand before you today as 33-year-old man, no more arthritis. Yes. I wouldn't suggest that I struggle from depression or PTSD, and life is pretty fucking good. Can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah. I just got to click the E button, dude. That's all it is. When I send it, I just put the explicit button, and so now we're in. Now that you've cleared the bar, you get unlimited amount of curse words now.
Life is good. Life is good.
That's right. And you touched on a few things that, you know, always being able to, and there's some people out there that may understand what you're talking about, but the context, guys, of the central nervous system, and what Will's talking about is being able to have the ability to tap into that central nervous system. And first coming with our words and the connection of our words and our breath, right? They're like brother, sister. I mean, how would you explain that? Because you were talking about, you know, you get your breath, you can have your words. You have your words, right? You can utilize the breath. Give us a little bit on that.
I'll give you a brief example of a scenario that occurs with our company and our coaching application. We observe daily humans have a story, okay? And there's specific parts of that story. I'll use this analogy. I always like to say to humans, you know, your life is a story. It's a novel, and there's chapters, you know, and in the chapter, different things occur, you know, and there's chapters specifically that get stuck, right? And I'm certain, I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm certain Mark would have touched on this in the previous podcast. This stuckness with our stories and our realities is where everything stems from, right? Like our words that we tell ourselves, our affirmations, our negations are our realities. And so when we identify these parts of our lives that have us stuck, identify what the language is around that and what we're telling ourselves, we can get real with what we want and what we don't want. Now comes the breath work. When we sit in a space and create capacity for ourselves to be still, we can implement specific types of breath work to, one, alter the state of consciousness, to understand this without the egoic mind coming in and having an effect. And two, it allows the stillness to be amplified, right? If I sit here in my office on the floor at 8:30 a.m. on a weekday, 100% without fail, my son will come in and kick me in the head at some stage. I do not have the capacity to create stillness within that. Okay. This is just a brief aspect of my day. So for me to create stillness in my day, I would need to start to structure different parts in order to get into that space.
Yeah.
Majority of humans will either A, say, I don't have the time, B, I don't have that space to be able to get in that stillness, and C, is this really going to work?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, for us as coaches, we create space for people. We create space for people to come, sit, get in the stillness, identify what the language is, identify what the words are,
Right.
implement the breath work, and then all of a sudden there is this stillness that is beyond the material world. It's beyond, our realities in this present moment. It's beyond that. It is everything all in one.
Yes.
And in that space, the ego shows up, and that's where we stand in as coaches. The ego shows up, but because of the altered state, or the vulnerability that may be present, or the intention of wanting to overcome these obstacles, it becomes a lot easier to work. And so we can bring that breath from the chest, where the stress, so we're in that survival state, we can bring it from there down into the belly, low and slow. And when it's down low and slow in the belly, we're not in a state of survival. We're not in an upregulated state of alertness.
Mm-hmm.
We are down, we are present with the moment, and we are getting real with what our realities are.
Gosh, you guys, there is so much there, and the best way, if you guys are still kind of like, what, we get ramped up with a thought. Let me give you an example. Oh man, I don't know what my boss is going to think about this project. I'm really worried about what he's going to think. And man, if he doesn't like it, am I going to get fired? Right? Listen to the tempo of my breath, guys. That and then if I get fired, then I'm going to be out on the streets, and I'm not going to be able to provide for my kids. And, right? We get locked up, and so we start taking this thought, and it starts going way up into the sky. It's like fireworks. It's and what Will's saying is, when you start going, hey, just breathe through it. Now all of a sudden, okay, I'm a little worried about my boss. And whether he's going to like my project or not. All of a sudden, that thought that was way up there starts coming down. It starts coming down. And then it touches the ground, and you take your final breath. And you go, yeah, it's going to be fine. Right? Am I wrong, Will?
That was the best impression that I've ever seen. Yes.
Okay, guys. And I know this. I know that some of you guys can relate to that, and that's the power of the breath. You guys, you can say the same sentence, but slow it down and use your breath, and all of a sudden that story or that sentence loses all its gusto. And that's just the beginning part. That's just the beginning part.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys, we're diving. It's real. It's happening. Here it is. So you talked a little bit about the effects that you had, right, with having that quick tempo talking and being up in your chest and your breath and being a mouth breather, open up. What are the effects of having improper breath, or not utilizing our breath for us? What do you see with your clients most often?
It's layered. We're going deep. All right. We're about to dive down the rabbit hole.
We're going.
So physiologically, I am witnessing everything from specific types of cancers to gout to skin irregularities, eczema, psoriasis, all those types of things. To I would refer to it as stubborn weight. Okay, stubborn
Yeah.
weight
Yeah.
for the most part. Like there gets to a point in life where people are at a limit where they're like, I can't get rid of this weight, but I'm doing everything else. And truth be told, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I've witnessed it a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't I lose this? Well, stress is present in the body. Now, there is a healthy amount of stress because in a world of polarity, we can't know our parameters of our own realities without that being present, right? I can't know absolute stillness or calmness without knowing what my full threshold of alertness is, right? And in between there on that scale, I slide daily. So a healthy amount of stress is good. That being said, what we're perceiving stress as is this result or as a result of an occasion that has occurred. You used a beautiful example, right? Stressing about something at work,
Yeah.
stressing about money stories, stressing about relationships. These are superficial stresses.
Yeah.
Now, what I propose is that within the stories, right, the novels that I've referred to in our chapters, there has been specific occasions. Western society refers to this as trauma. I like to say and argue the trauma is not the toxin. The trauma is simply the result of an occasion.
Yeah.
The occasion itself occurred because of our own perception of our own programming. And now what we're witnessing, specifically with Harvest, is people are presenting with these physical ailments and having no idea why.
Yeah.
I've been working with my mum for over 2.5 years now. She was diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer. Okay, it is actually quite. She's in a rare category because not a lot of females actually have this cancer, and so she presented in a rare category initially. Now I cheated because I'd been through this intense ayahuasca journey years before and witnessed what had occurred to my mum as a child. So I knew that there was a specific type of stress that was present in her body. Right? The stress and anxiety, if we can imagine it as energy, it stores in our system, in all parts. It stores in the muscles, in the fats, in our everything about us. It stores there. Like our bodies are these computer hard drives that need cleaning. And so over the last 2.5 years, I'd been specifically working with my mum with stories and breath work. Now, the reality for all of our clients currently is it's a tangible notion. They need to know that it's going to have an effect in some way, and they need to experience that first so that we can change the mindset.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of people have these ailments for a long time. They've tried homeopathic ways. They've tried medicine. They've tried everything, but it's still present. So I'm going to have to do something to convince you that this is actually going to work. And this is where we're going back to our stories and how our words are telling us what our realities are. So we've got to convince them tangible results. So first things first, when the elements are presented, we create a scenario to which they can experience the change physically, emotionally, and spiritually. All right, put them in an altered state by doing breath work, not micromanaging. They're in that, they're doing the practice, they're in their own space. They come out and they go, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, something changed. I've witnessed with my bare eyes people's complexions changing after specific breathwork practices. And then following on months, my mum included, the ailments start to disappear.
Yeah.
Things are no longer present in their lives. One, they changed the way they were seeing it. And two, they were getting out of that stress environment of their own lives.
Yeah.
You can change location. You can geographically move. You can change the way that your body looks. You can change the way that you eat. But just like money, it doesn't mean it's going to make you happy unless you identify the root cause, the occasion to which the trauma is a result of. And so breath in a physiological, theory-based level, you're breathing through the mouth, breathing in the chest regularly, you have stress in the body. that over time is going to create dis-ease. Dis-ease long-term turns into disease. Mm-hmm. When you get to the doctors and the doctors say, take this medicine, it's not going to fix the ailment.
That's right.
The ailment is present because of the occasion that initially occurred. Now, if we go back and unpack that in a like a sacred container, so with Harvest, we run seminars, we do online seminars, where we create a sacred container where people feel heard, seen, and loved. Mm-hmm. And now half those walls are down because they're vulnerable, and they're like, okay, well, I trust this now. This becomes a tangible thing.
Yes.
Humans like tangible things. I like to feel things. I like to know that things exist.
Yes.
I'm not going to believe in a ghost until I see one.
Yes.
You know? All the while I'm walking down the hallway and my hairs are sticking up on my neck and I'm like, what is this? Humans like tangible things. And so if you can get to that point of trust, and this comes back to the drum circle, coincidentally enough, is that connection.
Yes.
When you get to that point, then people are changing their minds and they're changing their lives because they're willing to put themselves in that quantum field to be like, I am not a person who has cancer. I am not a person who has gout. Now, all of a sudden, the physiological response is, oh, that feels better. I can breathe into my belly now.
Yes.
Now, it may not have just stopped. The cancer may not have just stopped. But now the nervous system's like, oh, okay, well, we don't have that. Then what is it?
Yes.
And pathways stop firing. These pathways that are saying and suggesting to the body, you have this inflammation, start redirecting and connecting elsewhere, because you, the person, the conscious mind, have just gone, no, I don't have that anymore. I don't have that anymore.
Yes.
Now, breath goes from the chest to the belly. I become less stressed and anxious. My thoughts are less intrusive and crazy.
Yes.
And now I'm present with what it is that I do want.
Yes. Yes. You guys, if you're listening on the podcast, you missed my facial expressions, but there's some of you guys out there, I know it. I just know it. That you're being like, oh, hogwash. Hogwash. And I'm going to give you an example, because usually, I'm not going to call out any particular type of people, right? You just need a different way for this to make sense. And I'm gonna see, right, Will, and I want you to either give me like the thumbs up and agree with this or not. I was with my client the other day, seeing my friend who's an incredible PT. She was doing dry needling. Maybe you guys have done dry needling before, right? You're like, oh, I did dry needling, and they stuck this needle into my muscle, right? And they kind of moved it around. And then all of a sudden, my knee was like, it didn't hurt anymore. And all of a sudden, I had like sensations going down my leg and so on and so forth. Guess what's happening there, guys? It's the central nervous system that is going, I got to protect something. I got to protect something. And then that dry needle came in and said, no, you don't. And it went, oh, reset, Control-Alt-Delete, boop. And all of a sudden, your knee doesn't hurt anymore. If it was your knee that you're getting dry needling, or your hip, or your foot, or your ankle. Breath work can be that Control-Alt-Delete to the central nervous system. You guys, it's real. It's the same thing. If that doesn't connect with you, do you agree? Well, is it?
Yeah, and I'll add to that. I 100% support that there is a person out there that is saying, nope, don't believe it, too woo-woo.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine, he's a world-class coach, always says, there's two reasons that you won't believe it. One, you don't believe someone can teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
And two, you don't believe in yourself enough to be able to do it either.
Ooh. Gosh, you hit.
And now it becomes a placebo, because the needle, metaphorically, the needle's going to do something physically.
Sure.
But the fact that you went in there with the mindset, this needle's going to fix something, guards down.
Yep.
Guards down.
Yep.
And you're 100% correct. Breathwork is exactly the same.
Yep. And it's being able to have that trust. Oh, that's a PT. Oh, right. Oh, I go in, they have a table. Oh, they're putting on gloves, right? This is a real oh, right? More and more each step. And that's what you guys do at Harvest, right? From what you were saying, right? You're doing the same thing. You're putting on the gloves, right? You're showing them like, hey, we're professional, right? You can start letting your guard down, right? And they start going, oh, okay, yeah, no, these guys know what they're talking about. And, okay, now, so what do you do? And what's happening here? Yeah, right. But people have to come in with, oh yeah, I'm open to this. This is gonna work, because you could take a pill and say it's not gonna work, and all the other studies say that pill works, but you believe that the pill isn't gonna work. It's not gonna work. That's just me. I don't know, Will. That's just me.
Recently, I decided I was going to change. I'm not a huge proprietor of titles, right? I don't like how society says, this is your title. Because, let me justify this, because that is essentially saying, I am not fitting the mold to which you want me to fit, right? Or I am fitting the mold to which you want me to fit.
Yes.
And so up to a specific point in time, I'd go as far as say a month ago, I would have referred to myself as a breathwork practitioner.
That's right.
Sounds fancy.
It does.
Sounds fancy, right?
Yeah,
Sounds nice.
You got my attention.
Right? For the most part, that allows somebody to sit with a little bit of ease. Okay, cool. Breathwork practitioner. No idea what that is, but sounds fancy. On the surface level, yeah, okay, I could jive with that, and I did. I jived with it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But in real life, and a deep sense of human, back to connection, it needs to be relatable. I need to be able to trust you based off relativity of our relationship or the scenario at hand.
Yeah.
Breathwork practitioner says that I practice breathwork. Hell, Joel, you might practice breathwork.
Yeah.
We all practice.
Yeah.
And so I don't find it relatable to the point to which somebody can go, I trust you. Just because I've got a piece of paper and there's this title,
Yeah.
that's not real.
Yeah.
Real connection, real magic comes from here to here. There's many aspects to which we practice this in our life. We have, we have relationships. We have religion. We have spiritual beliefs. This is a connection to self and to higher source.
Yeah.
Right? So why not work there? Why not work there with humans? Why not work in that capacity? If I go into the city and I see a man in a business suit, and then I see a guy who's kind of dressed like me, well, trying not to be judgmental, I know where my primate mind is going to go.
Yeah.
It's got to be relative. It's got to be relatable.
Right. Right.
And so, that in itself would imply me being a breathwork practitioner who's saying that I'm wearing the business suit, and then I'm asking you to come in here and tell me all your occasions and your traumas so that we can fix them.
Yeah.
It's the same as going to the doctors and going, can you give me a pill to fix my bung knee or whatever? It's the same. So I changed to breath worker because, one, I can't be a stick in the mud because I'm just going to be an irregularity in a society that says it's something else. So need to have a title, breath worker, right? Like I work with the breath.
Yes.
I work with people's breath, and I work with people working with their breath.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
And the breath is a vehicle. It is a tool. Okay. So for the most part, anyone who's listening to the podcast or watching right now, I guarantee you've been scrolling through Facebook or Instagram and someone has popped up, do this breathwork course.
That's right.
Learn meditation.
Yep.
Do this thing, Wim Hof,
Yes.
this thing. Fantastic. But understand, you can do it at home. Breathwork is a tool.
Yeah.
Breathwork is a way for you to connect to you. It's not a fix. It's not a medicine. You are the medicine. Breathwork is just a tool and a vehicle to get you from where you are to where you want to be.
Gosh, man, there's so much good stuff there. I really like the title. Social worker, breath worker. You're working with the breath. And you're so right in terms of, the different titles. That's something that I really, I struggle with as well, because what the titles come down to, and we're taking a little tangent, guys, but stay in here because Will and I, we're pretty cool dudes.
Agreed.
Agreed. Is we want to have the title, not to have the certificate or the degree, is to be able to tell the inner self, right, the inner child, we're enough. When we get the degree, what'd you say?
I belong.
I belong, right? And it's like moving into this realm of life coaching. You got all these different like life coaching certificates and this. I haven't looked at one. Because it would go against my nature. Not that I don't spend my time researching, not that I don't work and have invested my money being coached by other amazing coaches, but I don't need a certificate to be able to help somebody get to a result. So if I'm able to have the tools to help somebody get to what and where they want to be, then I'm enough. And even if I don't get them there, I'm still enough. And this is what we struggle with these titles. If I don't get the grade, if I don't get the certificate, if I don't get the degree, if I only get an 80%, it's constantly fighting against being able to be secure with ourselves. And again, this takes us all the way back from the very beginning, guys, if you've been listening, to what Will was saying in your first 10,000 days. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
First 10,000 days, you're getting programmed. And that is the important stuff in a lot of this story work, breath work, is being able to pull it back to that 10,000, those first 10,000 days, and be able to go, why don't we dive in here? And why don't we breathe through this? And it does, I don't know about you, Will, but sometimes I'm like laughing when I'm getting through and somebody's like, they're saying they're breathing through and they say the right word and they look up and their eyes get big and they're saying, and I'm just like, I know, right? I know. Cause it's happened to me. Right. And I'm just like, is that what? Why is this a secret? Why isn't everyone why isn't everyone breathing and being able to get those stuck stories out? It's, oh my gosh, it's something. It is something. So we talked a little bit about the ailments, but let's talk about how does breath work and breathing help performance? So we've treated the ailment. We've talked about the story. How does it help performance? Are we going to see any type of gain in our performance in the gym, as an athlete, in our relationships? Let's dive into that. Let's touch that.
Love that. And before I do, I want to say thank you for just sharing that personal, vulnerable story just there. I love that, man. Like, I too have been there. And for everyone listening, what Joel and I were just saying, we both see you, and you are held, and you do belong.
Yes.
In or out of the story right now, wherever you are in your own reality, we see you and you belong. Just know that. So thanks, Joel, for sharing that, brother. I really appreciate that, man.
That's beautiful.
Let's talk about performing, because it does. I'm a huge explorer when it comes to polarity. I like to know the ends of the scale. That's where we live. That's where we live in life. We live on this scale of rock bottom and high as a kite.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful journey to be a part of. And what I love about that, I love being at rock bottom. It's such a funny thing to say, paradoxical actually, but I love being at rock bottom.
Me too.
I get less. I love upgrading. I love upgrading my level of thinking.
Yes.
And I love being high as a kite because up there as well, you're the light. And just like that moment when you see people doing the story work and you see their face just go, no way. Like, I
Yes.
love seeing people just be like, oh, you're up there, you're high. I want to be high. All right, let's do this. And like
Yes.
that feeling, that collective feeling, it's beautiful.
Yes.
So I love exploring polarity, and I've done the depths and the work, and we do that at Harvest. We facilitate. We have a community, a small community, where we do training weekly in unpacking the occasions, the trauma, and start to blueprint why and where they are present.
Yeah.
Right. And so the other side of the thing is performance based. We look at where our performance may be satisfactory to our standards, right? And it's got to be relative. It has to be relative. For the most part, you and I, fit, healthy dudes,
Right.
our level of performance isn't going to be the same for somebody else who might just be stepping into wanting to take up a fitness journey or wanting to move their body in a specific way, right? And so it's got to be relative. Same again, it comes back to psychology or the psyche of the human. What are you aiming to do? Okay. And I'll give you an example. I'm currently coaching for humans, very high performing humans. And I specifically chose them because they have all the characteristics and attributes to where they're going to receive the information that I give them very quick. Like the speed of implementation is going to be fast.
Yeah.
And then the outcomes are going to be a lot more advanced for them to understand, as in difference to if I grab somebody and said, hey, do you want to do some story work? And they're like, oh yeah, what's this story work? You do it. I can't do the same coaching. And so I pick these specific humans. And with that, they all have physical, emotional, and spiritual performance-based goals.
Yeah.
And they all intertwine. Because for me to be on my A game in flow state, I need to have all of those boxes ticked. I need to be physically breathing better.
Yeah.
I need to be conscious about where my breath is present in my body 80 to 90% of the day.
Yeah.
And if I can be consciously aware of where my breath is, then that means that I'm being present in my day. That's the first thing. The second thing is when it comes to doing these tasks that are high performing or performance based, I'm not only breathing better through them, but I'm becoming more present to what the activity is. Okay, so if I took yourself, Joel, and I said, all right, what's the performance base? We'll do it right now, actually. What would be a performance-based goal that you have for yourself right now?
Running and completing my 50K.
Running, completing the 50K. All right. If we just said, Joel, go run the 50K, do yourself a little program, work up to your 50K, but you can only have 5 hours sleep a night, and I want you to eat in a 2,000 calorie deficit, right? What is your performance going to be based at in achieving that goal? Your mindset might be like, yeah, we'll get it done, and you may well get it done. But to what standard will you get it done? How present will you be in achieving the activity?
Right.
Now, if I said to you, Joel, all right, 50K, we've got 2 weeks to achieve the training or 3 weeks to achieve the training.
Yeah.
I want you to sleep a minimum of 8 hours a night. I want you to eat nothing but whole foods that fit your primal blueprint type, because it's got to fit you, and eat in windows that are comfortable for you as well, right? Not outside of them. And I want the water to be up. I want you to take ice baths every day. I want you to do breath work every day. And I want you to meditate every day. How present are you going to be on that journey?
Locked
You're going to be right. So you're going to be fully focused because it becomes the thing.
Yeah.
It becomes the thing. It becomes my reality. Everything else goes on hold.
Yeah.
And I become present with it. And so when I coach people into this space, it becomes a matter of, where are you psychologically with this thing?
Yeah.
All right. Everybody has different performance goals. Where are you? And it becomes a matter of becoming present with our realities and going, all right, is it up the top or is it down the bottom?
Yeah.
And when we spend time implementing these practices, this education around high-performing breath work, well, the body just starts performing at this level to which it should be, which is what we would refer to being in alignment or being in flow state. And in that mode, your breathing is better, your eyesight is better, your overall health and conditioning of the body is better, your bowel movements are healthy, your urine is clear, everything is operating as it should, because we put intention into the space of our life that we were all muddled about, all right? You know, like, it's got to be clear, it's got to be intentional, and it's got to be clear, and we've got to breathe to it, and it comes back to the stress. If I can remove the stress in the body and breathe into that space of where I want to go and how I want it to be, well, it's going to improve the body holistically overall. Man. Sure, the process of oxygen and carbon connecting and linking the body, you know, we can go on a chemical level and talk about that, but it's probably irrelevant to the conversation. Yeah, you'll breathe better. You'll be able to climb mountains. You'll be able to run longer. You'll be able to lift more. Yes, all those things will come from breathing better, but we must remove the stress from the body and get clear and intentional about what the goal is.
Yes, that's like, oh man, I'm like trying to again connect analogies. If there's people listen that are like, I know nothing about breath work. It's like getting a macro plan, right? Without any of the other things. Eating windows, right? Your blueprint. It's just like, okay, cool. Here you go. Here's your macros for the day. See ya. You know, well, sure, you have it, but do you understand it? And is it going to last? You know, incorporating the breath and understanding with intention. Now, all of a sudden, it's not just to resolve an ailment. It's not just to create performance, but it's to elevate a human. You're elevating your life. And that's what, this is why, guys, I'm so excited having Will here. And we're going to get into the next thing is being able to give you guys some tangible stuff to start working on in your breath work, and then how to get a hold of Will to work with him. But being able to establish that breath, you guys, is so critical in every facet. You've heard Will and I talk about it, from performance to ailments to mental stuck points in our life. It's just incredible. And so we're gonna wrap this up here, guys, and we're gonna dive into, as we always do, give you intangible stuff to be able to work on. And then if you have more questions, you can reach out to Will himself in the future. Get it? In the future. Yes. So, Will, give me an idea. Give me an idea. People are new to it. We're going to take the newbies, because we gave a lot of content for people who do understand breath work, and they're definitely going to be curious about talking to you. Give us some tangible stuff that people can start working on. We're talking about the person I gave the example of, right? Who's breathing in their chest and they don't know too much about, all they know is like, yeah, when I go to yoga. Let's give an example of that. What's some breath work stuff that they could do, some tangible stuff?
Beautiful. I'm gonna start it with a little practice for you, which goes real short, and then I'm gonna give the macro practice to which they can implement into their life.
Great.
All right, on the count of 3, because given that you're at the end of the day is perfect, and I'm setting you up for failure on purpose.
Good.
So that I can display the thing. I'm going to ask you on the count of 3 to exhale everything and hold your breath as long as you can. Now, if you are consciously aware of your breath and present with your body all day, your breath hold on the exhalation should be quite long. You're a fit, healthy male.
Yeah.
You should be able to hold it quite long. And being a taller, bigger fella, your lung capacity will be a lot larger as well. You should be able to hold a lot of oxygen in your lungs, more than average. Because you're at the end of the day, I'd be interested to see how long it is, and I'm going to implement something real quick, and then we're going to match it, and then I'll give you the technique.
I love it. Let's do it.
All right. Cool. All right. So on through, just exhale everything out the body. When you're at the full exhale out the mouth, all right, close the mouth as long as you can.
Okay.
First inhale, I want it to come through the mouth so I can see that you're going to inhale.
First inhale through the mouth.
First inhale through the mouth, just so I can see it come through.
You got it.
1, 2, 3. I want you to notice and just put the finger up when you feel the first little twitch in the diaphragm. It's like the first, hey, we need to breathe. It's called a soft pause. Soft pause. Second pause, all right? It'll be a sudden pause. There it is. Third one. There we go.
Ooh, I'm sweating a little bit.
18 seconds.
Oof.
All right, here we go. Only through the nose. Go a 10-second inhale, and then the exhale. Try and go longer than the 10-second inhale. We're going to do this for a minute. All right, only through the nose. Low and slow into the belly. Go. Guys listening, the belly will expand, ribs will expand on the inhale. On the exhale now, Joe will exhale as long as he can. Only through the nose, Joe. Only through the nose. His belly will come in, his ribs will come in. Inhale again for me, brother. 10 seconds. Belly will expand. You will pull that oxygen up into the upper lobes of the lungs. Exhale out the nose as well. Everything will go in first. What we're doing here, folks, is we're matching the mechanics with the respiratory system. So his belly is participating with the lungs itself. In again, brother. This is going to be your final exhale. Go. And at the end of the exhale, I want you to hold your breath, put your finger up and let me know when you're holding your breath. Hold that breath, remain calm. Close down the eyes, reduce the stimulus. Okay, our bodies are big antennas receiving information. We receive it through the senses. May feel a little trachea squeeze. "22 seconds. That window of improvement, albeit small to most people, is large. Even the world's greatest breath holders, free divers, do not go any further than 3 to 5 seconds in improvement each time they practice. And that can be a 6-month window, right? Understanding the body and where the breath is in the body is about understanding where we are present in our realities. Right? Matching the mechanical thing when I was talking about the belly participating.
Yeah.
This is a psychological trigger. It's an NLP technique in telling the body physically, our material reality, it's tangible, is going to match the internal stuff going on.
Yeah.
So when we breathe in through the nose, inhale, belly comes out, it gets nice and big. When we exhale, comes in, pull in tight. This is the mechanical, the material side matching the internal, the respiratory, the psychological moment. Now, the tool for everybody to use, 5 times a day, take 2 minutes, nose breathing only, 2 minutes, okay, 5 times a day. And it can be spread, it can be when you wake up, it can be just before you go to work, it can be while you're commuting, it can be at lunch, before you go to bed, and use those techniques only through the nose. Use the belly to come out, belly to come in. Close the eyes down. If you're in a safe and secure location, don't do it while you're driving.
That's right.
And see how you feel. See the change in the body. Watch how it feels. And this is very, very surface level.
Yeah.
Like, this is just
Totally.
very surface level thing. Something fun I do it in public. All right. I'll be walking down the street and I'll just stop in the middle of the path. Heaps of people around. I'll just close my eyes. And I get to feel the energy of people walking past and looking at me. And that gives me fuel. It gives me fuel to be present with who I am and what I am doing. Yes. I love it. Love it.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to be honest. When I came in here, I was even talking to you. I was recognizing I was high in my breath. So I was practicing my belly breath. talking to you. And I was like, golly, man. And this is later in the day, so I just realized that the AC is off because it's Friday, and I got these lights, right? And so now I'm like hot, and it's been like a day, but going through that, what do we do? 3 rounds, 10 seconds in, 10 seconds out, 3 rounds ish.
3 rounds in a minute, yeah.
Already.
And you can get 2, maybe 1 per minute.
Yeah, and
really
yeah, and I feel better.
I ask, being a public speaker, how often do you stop? Even though you are present with all of these humans doing your thing, how often do you stop and go,
I mean, I haven't closed my eyes yet.
Try it.
I'm definitely gonna try it, because there's Mark taught me well, right?
Does it really well.
And being able to take that moment and stop, and it builds a little drama, because people are like, "Hey, what's going on next? What's happening? Why isn't he talking?" And then you move. You can move into the next one. Yeah. Dude, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. Man, all right. So we're an hour in, guys. This was fire, man. Now, if you're listening, guys, and you are interested in working with Will or just talking to Will about it, how do people get a hold of you? To be able to, they do a clarity call with you? Can they message you on Instagram? Give us how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, definitely. I love talking with new humans. I'm not a salesy person. If I foresee that my coaching can help you, I'll tell you straight up.
Yes.
I'll be completely honest with you.
Yes.
So you can connect with me either via my own Instagram or via our Harvest page. Mine is @WilliamNJB. And on Harvest, and then our Harvest page is @HRVST Becoming Human, and that's on Instagram as well. If you drop us a message in there, someone will get back to you on the Harvest page. If you come to mine personally, I will directly get back with you, and we can set up a discovery call where we just chat. We just talk about what's going on. And we also run so we have an app, a Human Collective app. And in there weekly, we provide training and education 3 times a week, and we do breathwork sessions in there as well. And they're all recorded, so if you come in late, you can go back and watch them.
That's incredible.
I'll personally guide the breathwork. We teach about story work and language work. Nick's in there as one of the coaches.
Yes.
We have so every Saturday we do a special guest IG live, and we put that in there as well.
Incredible.
So connect with us. There's plenty of education getting around. The community is fire. There are just these like-minded humans all jamming on the same vibration. It's beautiful.
Yes, that's incredible. That's incredible. And I also want to bring up your video. That video you made, dude. I've watched it. I've watched it multiple times. The one where you're breathing on the beach. Right, it's like zoning in. It's come to it. You guys gotta see this video. I've watched it multiple times, and whoever produced it and the way you guys produced it, dude. And is that's on YouTube? Is it? Can you watch it on YouTube?
It's on my page and it's on YouTube.
So you guys got to see that. I'm gonna include it in the show notes. If you guys want to check it out, just scroll down. I'll have the YouTube link so you can click on it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. In a beautifully well done video, and it's very captivating. Will, dude, incredible time to be able to spend a Friday evening with you, and your Saturday morning in the future was such a blessing. And I feel so honored that we were able to connect. And guys, I can't speak highly enough about this coach. If you are ready and willing to take a step into your breath, this is the guy to do it. You can fly out to Australia if you want, or you can just do it virtual. Either way, right? Will's gonna have open arms, open heart to you.
Always.
Anything else, Will?
I like to ensure that people know, no matter what, I love you, no matter what.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's one thing to show up in the world and know that we're trying our best. And if at the very least someone hasn't told you, listen to this back or message me and I will tell you whenever you need. I love you. I love you, Joel.
I love you too, brother. You guys, and I've been holding on to this, but next week, this guy's going to take us through some breath work. And so you're going to have the opportunity to go live and be able to do this, or it's going to be recorded and you can listen to it and you can get a live taste of what this breath work is in his coaching. We did just a snippet, like that was just like a skim off the top of what we just did, right? And
Yeah.
I am super excited about next week. So if you guys are watching live, we're going to be tuning in same time, same place, Friday, 5 p.m., Saturday in the morning in Australia. And Will's going to take us through an incredible experience. I really hope you guys can join us. And if not, you can replay it and replay it and replay it and just get a dose of Will's love. So I'm looking forward to that, brother.
Me too, man. Me too.
Awesome. All right, you guys, that's it for us today. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night or evening, depending on where you are. From me to you and from Will to you, we love you guys.